The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Fly, and Marco the Phoenix has officially made it to Wano. We also now know the message that Marco wanted to send to Luffy, that he was always tended to come, but he was just going to be a bit late. As well as giving a slight explanation as to why him and the Whitebeard pirates did not intervene with Kaido and Wano. They just simply didn't know what was going on, and that I'm not even sure they even knew that Oden died in the past 20 years due to Kaido and his forces, as Marco did say that had he knew, he would have intervened a long time ago because he loved Oden. Now that a whole explanation, we can talk about that another time. I'm just gonna stay right here that I'm not really the biggest fan, but it be what it be. But what we're here to talk about in this video is Marco's involvement in Wano, his role in the future of the series, as well as how strong Marco the Phoenix is and how much of an impact he'll have on this war. Although Marco is a very popular character, I would say that I think he might be one of the most underestimated commanders in terms of power. I really don't believe that he gets the respect that he deserves, and we're finally going to see all the true potential and power that Marco possesses during this war in Wano. Now, before we talk about Marco's involvement and his impact in this war in Wano, I want to go through how strong Marco is. He was not only Whitebeard's right-hand man, being the first division commander, but he was also the former captain of the Whitebeard pirates after Whitebeard passed away. As of right now in the story, Marco has already been involved in a few wars, one being a battle against the Roger pirates that lasted 5 days, another being the Marineford War, and then the third being the Payback War, where he got his ass handed to him by the Yonko Blackbeard. Marco is a veteran and will become a great asset for this war, as he has a lot of experience in wars beforehand. Marco doesn't use weapons, but instead is a hand-to-hand combatant, mainly using his feet to attack, and he is in possession of observation, armament, and hockey, but his main power set is in his devil fruit, the Tori Tori no Mi model Phoenix. Marco is in possession of one of the rarest devil fruits in One Piece, being the Phoenix fruit, which basically makes it, this is a very powerful devil fruit, as it gives him the ability to instantly heal all his wounds. Even upon contact, Marco can heal from his wounds, as seen when Kizaru was shooting those light beams towards him and it was hitting Marco directly, and Marco instantly healed from those attacks, even seemed to go through him as if he was like some sort of Loki. Marco has one of the strongest defensive ability, as you are not able to hurt him unless you can bypass his devil fruit. The only known ways that are able to go through Marco's powers, if you have an ability of your own that can bypass his devil fruit, or if you have an ability or something that can nullify his devil fruit, i.e. Sea Stone or Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi, which allows him the ability to nullify all devil fruits upon contact, as well as if you have strong enough hockey to hit Marco, as we've seen back in Marineford War when Garp punched Marco right in the face when he's making his way towards Ace, which caused Marco to bleed and take damage. Marco was able to engage in combat with all three admirals back in the Marineford War, with one of them, Akainu, later becoming the fleet admiral. And all three of these admirals, Kizaru, Aokiji, and Akainu, are considered some of the strongest characters within the series, being able to injure as well as block attacks from all three admirals during the war. So with that all being said, Marco is a very powerful person and a very underrated character. But what about Marco's involvement in Wano? I think there's a high possibility that he's not there alone. In fact, I believe that there's a possibility that he may have brought the other Whitebeard remnants that survived the war with Black. Since Oden sailed with the Whitebeard pirates for about 4 years, they all have to have some sort of relationship with Oden and probably love him and would do anything they can to help Oden once they found out what really happened in Wano. And I think it would be a great time to show them the more obscure characters of the Whitebeard pirates, as well as characters that we've seen earlier but we just want more expanded upon, such as Vista. Vista is one of the oldest members of the Whitebeard pirate crew, and he's one of the greatest swordsmen in the world. So I think Wano would be a great opportunity to see Vista and his abilities and what he could do. And of course, we know that Izo is there as seen in the previous chapters, and he is, or at least was, a retainer for Oden. Now, the similarities between Marco and King is very apparent, as they were both introduced in the Wano arc the exact same way, kicking the Big Mom ship off the water, as well as they're both flying type Zoans, and they both have fire in their moveset, while Marco is more defensive and for healing. King's flames are more offensive and for destruction. So I think a fight, or at least a clash, between Marco and King is imminent and definitely going to happen at one point during this arc. I think it would be great to see two first commanders fighting and duking it out and comparing them how powerful they really are. As well as I'm a fan of aerial battle like the Gonfall and Shura battle back in Skypiea, so a fight between these two prehistoric and mythical creatures would be a treat for us One Piece fans. Marco is usually seen being the support in these battles, like back in Marineford he played the support with his incredible healing as well as his impeccable defensive skills. But this isn't the only fighting option that Marco has during the arc of Wano. He can join in on the battle against Kaido during, it might be a group battle against Kaido alongside Luffy, Kid, and Law, Killer Zoro, and other characters on the island such as the Supernova or well the Worst Generation and maybe some of the samurai, fighting while also providing support and healing everyone because this battle will probably last for a very long time. Marco may even encounter one of the Flying Six, which would be very interesting because we can use that as a way to see how strong the Flying Six are compared to a commander without them having to have inner fighting within the Beast Pirates, because it wouldn't really make much sense in the middle of this war if you have like Who's Who fighting Queen in the middle of this war while they should be fighting the other opposing enemies such as the samurai. Or well, Oda could always have like a triple threat where you can have Who's Who versus Queen versus like maybe Sanji or someone on the Alliance side, which would be really dope and would help show how the Beast Pirates are just made out of ruffians, rapscallions, and is just a very dysfunctional crew, all battling for a seat of power within the Beast Pirates. So it's possible that Marco could be used as a benchmark for the Flying Six to see how well they're compared or how well they can fight against the commander and if they're really up to snuff. There's also the other option that Weevil and Miss Bakken will join the war and enter Wano as well. As I've mentioned in previous videos, Miss Bakken is looking for Luffy to look for Marco, but Luffy and Marco are actually on the same island at the same time, and it seems like everyone in the New World at the very least knows that Luffy is on Wano tackling and fighting Kaido. But the last time we saw Weevil is that he was surrounded by marine forces, and that was a few days before the Onigashima War, so Weevil could still have a chance or have the time to make it to Wano. And add the fact that Miss Bakken might have a connection with Kaido and Big Mom due to the Rock Pirates, I can definitely see Weevil showing up at Wano, and if Weevil comes, then you best be assured that's where Marco's full attention is going to be. Which will be fun because there's a lot of story elements there. Weevil's being manipulated by Bakken, and I'm pretty sure by the end of all this that Weevil will end up joining, well, not joining Luffy, but will definitely not be an opposing enemy after he gets rid of Miss Bakken and her manipulative ways, as well as learn the lesson of what real family is, and Marco will teach Weevil what it really means to be the son of Whitebeard. I've seen some theories going around that Marco may even die in Wano. I don't believe that's the case. If Marco were to die, I feel like he should have died back during when he fought against Blackbeard and not now. He still could die, but I think he should still stay around as like the veteran pirate and making sure he does pops. Whitebeard's last order to his crew was to escape and protect Luffy at all costs. And here we are 2 years later, another war that includes both Luffy and Marco, and Marco's probably going to do his best to make sure that Luffy comes out of this war alive. There's a lot at stake in this war, with Marco being very close with Odin. When Odin first joined the pirate crew, Marco was on there and they spent a lot of years together forming a great bond, which is why Marco is here on the island now. As well as Marco's relationship with Ace and his relationship with Luffy, even though him and Luffy didn't really get acquainted all that well back in Marineford War, but they'll definitely deepen their bond by the end of this. He may even join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, expanding its forces by the end of Wano. I've also seen a couple of theories sprout up that Marco may even join the Straw Hats. I doubt that. I would love it. Marco's one of my favorite characters, but I highly doubt that. That would, to me, instantly ruin the dynamic within the crew and put the role of Zoro and Sanji into question, even though we know that Zoro is Luffy's right hand and he's going to be one of the strongest characters in the series and is obviously one of the strongest members of the crew. If you have Marco there, that would just throw off the whole balance of the monster trio or whatever power dynamic that's going on within the Straw Hat Pirates. I can also see at the very end of this arc, capping off the whole Wano saga and the big feast, the big party that they have, that Marco tells Luffy about Ace's grave and may even possibly take Luffy there as to say one final goodbye and reminisce on the good times, sort of like what Sabo did leaving his cup there. I think it would be a great moment, as you would have Jinbei, who's officially part of the crew, also there reminiscing on Whitebeard and Ace as characters and good people, and they just bond. You could have Luffy drink sake, which is something Luffy does not do. He doesn't drink alcohol at all. He might drink a sake cup and leave a cup there for Ace, just like how Sabo. But that's the video, guys. Don't forget to rate the video, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay notified. I just really wanted to talk about Marco, as he's one of my favorite characters, and I think he's a very underestimated character as well. Put down in the comments what you think of Marco and his role in Wano, as well as the future of One Piece. Whether you want to believe it or not, or like it or not, we're entering the final acts of One Piece, and we're entering the beginning beginning of the end, with Wano signifying that the end is near. Marco will be a future ally for Luffy and will help him at all costs, and at the end of the war he might even give us tidbits and tell Luffy about Blackbeard and his encounter, and maybe some secrets that we might not know of, since not only did he fight Blackbeard and trying to figure out all these years probably what's going on with Blackbeard, how he has 2 devil fruits and what's wrong with his body, and Marco was the doctor of the crew, so he shouldn't have a little inklings on Blackbeard's body, since back in Marineford he did say that Blackbeard has a weird body, and they both did serve on the same crew for a few decades, so we may get some additional information on Blackbeard at the end of Wano. But that's it. Hope you guys have a good day and a good night. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodles!
Never again will you be lost. From now on, you will be at my side, forever mine, forever dark side.